Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Flesh and Blood stream. Tonight, I'm going to be playing some Emberblade Fai, which is kind of a little... It's a little bit of a change from what I've been doing, but not a big change. I'm still playing Fai. Now that Lexi's gone, I think that Fai is going to be a real contender and have a really solid spot in the metagame. Honestly, just off the top of my head, I think the four big decks going into the new meta are Bravo, Dromai, Bravo, Dromai, Dash, and Fai. I think those are the four decks that are going to be like real big going into the new meta. So I'm going to keep focusing on Fai and see if I can continue to like try and work out an Emberblade list. Excuse me, sorry about that. But before we get into the Fai gameplay, I want to recap my last weekend of ProQuest here. So this past weekend was ProQuest week 3 for everybody in the States. If you guys played at your ProQuest this past weekend, let me know in the chat how you did. I'd love to talk about it. I'd love to hear about your weekend. So Saturday I drove to Roanoke with 3 of my buddies, a couple guys from the team. And we played in a draft ProQuest at Star City Games. I actually finished 9th, and there were only 12 people there. It was a rough Saturday for me. I was the only Teklo Vossen in my pod, and I went 1-2, and I finished 9th on breakers, and it was a really weird draft. As a whole, like I definitely think my deck was 2-1. I think I just wasn't playing at like peak potential this past weekend, so it was a little tough to finish 9th out of 12 people. That was a pretty tough run for me. I felt pretty bad about it, and so just decided, all I can do is shake it off and keep going and like play on Sunday and hope that Sunday goes better. So Sunday, end up playing CC at the Outpost, which is my second local store here where I live in Tennessee. And we had 14 people show up, made top 8, played against Dash in round 1 of top 8. And I played a super close game where I was able to squeak out the game. I think mostly due to me going second, I was able to squeak out the game. But it was a really close one. It was a really good game, and I was able to squeak it out and get there. So going into top 4, I'm playing Alexi and Dromai's playing a Bravo. And so I'm like, okay, if I can get through the Lexi here, I like both. Man, Bobby's already talking mad trash in the chat. You're just a sassy little boy who got 9th at a small ProQuest event. Yeah, I am. Thanks a lot, Bobby. How did Sunday go? Since you wanna be toxic, I said we played a close game and I squeaked one out, and now you're up in here talking all that trash for no reason. Anyway, so played Lexi in top 4. I my opponent had a pretty early Rain Razor's 3 of a kind turn. I blocked a little bit, and then my opponent threw a couple of arrows at me that didn't really have many on-hit effects, and so it was kind of like their off turn. This was turn 2 that my opponent had Rain Razor's 3 of a kind, so I have my big Art of War turn. The game is now super close, and then my opponent actually has another Rain Razor's 3 of a kind turn, which put them in the driver's seat and really gave them the edge, and I was just never really able to crawl back. I did end up getting them down to like 3, but I was just never able to cross the finish line. Oh, excuse me. My opponent having 2 Rain Razor's 3 of a kind turns in the first 4 turns of the game was just too much for me to come back from. And then Bravo ended up taking down the event. So finishing 9th at a ProQuest on Saturday was pretty tough. 9th out of 12 people was a hard pill to swallow. The word I used to describe my performance on Saturday was pathetic. I was pretty disappointed with myself. That one took I got a lot of reflection coming back on that one, because I feel like I was really prepared for draft, and I was the only Tekla Vossen in my pod, and I still went 1-2. So anyway, and then after that, brought it back a little bit on Sunday and had a decent run, but just fell short to Lexi. I couldn't cross over the hill. So this was ProQuest Season 4, and this is the 3rd season of ProQuest that I have been playing Flesh and Blood, and this 3 seasons I've not been able to qualify. I'm getting really close, and I'm making multiple top 8s every ProQuest season. I'm just not able to cross the finish line. And honestly, I refuse to buy a PTI until I am actually able to qualify by winning a ProQuest or like winning a PTI in some way. I refuse to buy a PTI. It's a very personal, like, you know, like it's a big personal goal of mine to actually make it to the PT. I made it to the Pro Tour playing Magic back in the day, and that was a really big accomplishment for me. And so I really want to say that, you know, I did that. Like I want to say that I made it. After that, I don't care to buy PTIs, but I want to say that I made it first. So that's kind of like a big goal of mine. So I'm going to keep grinding during the off season. I know there's a calling coming up in January, I think, that's somewhere close to us. So I'm going to start grinding, and I'm just going to, you know, keep at it and try to get there. So we're going to hope that the Emberblade Fai deck is pretty good, and I'm really hoping I can work that out today. I actually wasn't trying to be toxic, LOL. That was mostly just a callback to Blake being one. Lol, dude. Yeah, Saturday night. What Bobby's talking about is Saturday night. In the car on the way back from Roanoke. One of our friends was arguing with me just to argue with me. And I just, after finishing ninth and being tired of him arguing just to argue with me, I exploded. I lost it. Like I started like screaming in the car. I was so angry. It was not great. It was like, I think everybody in the car got to see a side of me that does not come out very often, and something that I'm not truly proud of. But it was an interesting car ride back. We ended up laughing about it a little bit because I think it's laugh or cry in situations like that. But we ended up laughing about it a little bit and, you know, kind of moved on and stuff like that. So, but overall, I hate that ProQuests are over. But when ProQuests are over, I'm always like, ugh. Like, there's no more traveling. I can just hang out at home and like play some games and like, you know, test some decks and hang out with Carly. And, you know, like I'm just like, so I'm always excited when ProQuest season's over. But man, I love the grind. I'm always ready for the next ProQuest season. It's just who I am. So let's see. Jacob said, hey, that doesn't sound too bad. I had a game versus Dromai playing Icelander where they double tomed in the Tumultai into dominating Nourishing. Oh my gosh, Jacob. That, dude. I'm sorry, man. That's tough. That's tough, dude. That's that's tough, man. I'm sorry. I know that's tough. I can't imagine what that must feel like. Ugh. Tumultai, get your Stormstriders, I assume, into also dominate and Nourishing. That's absolutely insane. Carly said you packed your angry eyes with a heart. Yes, I did. I packed my angry eyes just in case, and thank God, because Blake made me use them. Blake didn't make me use them, but you get what I'm saying. I had to go to the gym to recover from the beating you gave me in top 8. I mean, Bobby, I didn't give you a beating. Like, I got very lucky by drawing a second Art of War. Like we played a 6-turn game, and I saw 2 Art of Wars. So I basically like just did to you what the Lexi did to me. Like, it was just one of those situations, man. Like, it's like, because we played a lot of really close games. I honestly, like, I think one of the big things is, like, I think that, like, if you see a Harpoon, like, you're so much more favored in that matchup, but, like, you haven't seen a Harpoon really in any of our games that we've been playing lately, so. All right, well, we kind of talked about ProQuest recap. If anybody, you know, like, if anybody who's hanging out in the chat played at ProQuest, you guys want to talk about it, throw it up in the chat. Let's talk about it. I want to hear about your ProQuest. You know, like, I love to hear about everybody's games and how it's going. But let's go ahead and jump into Emberblade Fai. I am pretty excited to play Emberblade Fai, honestly. All of these matchups in here are irrelevant. I actually got the Emberblade Fai list from Lupine Fiasco, and then I put my own twist on it. I kind of wanted to take his list and start there and go from there. So basically, this is like my 57 card main deck that I have. And I'm pretty, like, I feel pretty comfortable with it. And then I have like my sideboard cards here. Ended up adding a Rise from the Ashes to the sideboard and Ancestral Empowerments to the sideboard because I think Ancestral Empowerment's going to be very good in an aggro-based meta. So the question is Pouncing Links better or is Momentum better? Let's try Pouncing Links. He has Pouncing Links. How does he sideboard for Dash.io? Let's find Dash.io and see what his equipment suite is. So Dash.io is this equipment suite here, and then we're just going to add empowerments in because I think empowerments are really good, and I think empowerments will give us a solid push into playing more offense here. We could have cut some of our cards, but I don't really see a reason to. Let's let them filter a little bit, I guess, here. I'm not, like, I'd rather get the empowerment out of my hand so that I can play Art of War and Flamecall Awakening here. I guess we'll let them filter just a little bit here. And then we'll Arsenal the Art of War. Okay. This is interesting. Dissolving Shield is very good for our opponent. Like, that's an extremely good card for them. I'm just going to take 5 here. I don't see a reason to... block here. You made the correct choice of bringing back the Phoenix Flame. I don't think that's a decision that a player without a lot of skill and experience with the deck makes. Don't sell yourself short. Well, man, I appreciate that. That means a lot, Bobby. I was like, Bobby, you're a very good player, and I really appreciate that, man. That means a lot. So I guess we're gonna pitch the Art of War to play Art of War, and we're gonna banish and draw, or we're gonna banish and buff here, and I'm gonna banish the blue Lava Vein loyalty here. There's 15 blues in our deck. You did, if you guys noticed by any chance, I do have oh, this is interesting. I guess we're gonna lead on Snatch here. This empowerment's not really doing much here. I have 2 copies of Energy Potion in my sideboard in this deck, and that's because I think that Iyslander is going to be like kind of make a resurgence here. Now I know that like this weekend is going to tell us a lot about, you know, what the metagame's going to look like as far as everything's concerned, but I do think that like Iyslander is going to have a bit of a resurgence now that Lexi's gone. So I'm curious to see like how that plays out. Did they crown? No. We're going to use our snaps here. I'm not a huge fan of just giving up snaps this early, but like we're also just getting cards out of our opponent's hand. I'm going to play Flamecall Awakening for 4 here. I've already played a red card, so we're going to get to search for our Phoenix Flame. This is going to make Rise from the Ashes better later in the game. This is 4-2. I could actually activate Fai here to get more value out of... I can get value off of Shuko and also off of out of my Art of War, as opposed to arsenaling that, which is kind of good. I mean, I guess I was going to get Shuko value either way, but I'm getting more value out of my Art of War here by actually... I'm getting more value out of my Art of War here by actually playing the line this way instead of keeping the Ancestral Empowerment. I don't know if that's the 100% correct play here, but it is interesting. Wow, man, these hands are all over the place. So... play Rise from the Ashes, pitch a Phoenix Flame to play Mounting Anger, and to play Phoenix Flame Arsenal Art of War here is probably going to be our line. We could also just take the line of playing Art of War here and like trying to like get a little lucky here off of hitting a blue and some good cards, but I don't know about that. Good luck with the games. I'm going back to watching the One Piece live action show. Oh man, I was like, I'm not really like a big anime person, but that sounds cool, man. I appreciate you coming by and hanging out, Bobby. Hope you like your show, man. They've only boosted 1 time. Just gonna take 4 here. Only boosted once this turn. So this is for 7, which means we'd have to give up multiple pieces here to block this. It's probably better just to give them the Teklo Core. I mean, we're falling behind pretty quick here, like, and our hand's not very good. Like, so now we're down 9 points. Maybe at this point I have to consider, is playing the Art of War worth it here? Is the value off of Art of War maybe worth what we'll actually get? Like, am I supposed to play Rise from the Ashes, pitch Phoenix Flame to play Art of War, and then banish Phoenix Flame? Or am I just supposed to take my Rise from the Ashes, Mounting Anger for 7, into Phoenix Flame for 2? So take a 9-point turn and then Arsenal my Art of War? It doesn't really seem like a bad turn by any means. So I would have 1 Phoenix Flame left, which means if I draw a Rise from the Ashes, I'd be in a bad spot. So I could let this hit and then banish this for 2 extra points. Or I could actually just pitch and activate Furnace to gain 2 resources into play Emberblade, which is technically 1 more point, which I think is better. I think that's just a better play here, actually, because it's just another point, and I think we're at a point in the game where, like, damage is all we really care about. We are also making other Flamecall Awakenings just better here. So I think 1 more point is worth it here. You can pitch Phoenix Flame to Furnace instead. Yep, see, Jacob's on top of it. Jacob also thought of the same thing. I don't know if that was correct or not, but it feels pretty good, so... So, considering they went boost, they hit Tome into something else, which means they will get Go again here. I really need this not to be an Art of or a Max V turn. If it's a Max V turn, like, we're gonna lose. I'm gonna take 4 and go to 5. Oh man, this is a Max V. Well, that's a tough scene. I mean, we probably just lose the game because of that. 2, 4, 5. I can't take 5 here. That is unfortunate. So I guess I'm supposed to... take 3 and go to 2. We're just going to have to hope to get a little lucky here. Hopefully put together a good enough turn here to, like, cobble something together. Now, it's going to be tough because if they have any, like, we're also playing around Boom Grenade. Like, I mean, I guess on hit Boom Grenade, like, we're just dead anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, let's go ahead and pick Buff and Banish. And then, I guess let's banish the Bram with Cinderclaw. Brand with Cinderclaw for 2. Man. There's not a way for me to be able to do this, is there? E-Strike go again for 6. E-Strike putting Brand on the bottom for 6. Go again. Emberblade, Blaze Headlong, Phoenix Flame. So this is 6, 9, 14, 16. So technically they're required to give me Tekla Foundry Heart and 1 card, which means they get to keep 3 cards, which is really not where we want to be. The other option here is... Man, if I'd have kept the Bram with Cinderclaw, my turn would be so much better. Because I could go Brand, Emberblade, Brand, activate Fai into E-Strike for 8. Okay, so let's work through the two lines here that we basically have. Brand plus Ember plus. So if I go Brand into Emberblade into Blaze Headlong, I haven't played a red card this turn. I haven't played a red card, so this won't have go again. Like if I go Brand, Emberblade, Blaze Headlong, I won't have played a red card. So that kind of like takes that line away from me here, which is like really what I want to do. I was like, I really like that line, Daniel. I just can't get to that line, unfortunately. So is my line Activate Fai? Okay, so play Brand, Emberblade, 2/5. Activate Fai by pitching Blaze Headlong. Oh my god. So 2/5 activate into 8, which is 13, which means they're only required to block with Teklo Foundry Heart here. There was a better line that I found just a minute ago. And it's 6 go again, put this on the bottom. Blaze. So that's 11 into 14, because I can't actually activate Fai if I do that. Wow, this is a tough turn. Man, me not keeping red Brand here really punished me. Yeah, so I mean 6 go again, putting Brand on the bottom. Into Blaze, into Emberblade is like my best play. That's 14 points. Man. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. And the fact that it's for 14... And the fact that it's for 14 means that like my opponent is only required to give me heart here. They give me heart. Okay, so they're not. Now they're going to give me heart. Go to 1. And then, unfortunately, that's the end of our turn. If I keep red Brand there, like, we take at least one more card out of their hand. Which is so good for us. And now we're, like, almost assuredly dead here. I guess I want to keep Snatch if I can. I think I'm just dead here. Okay, so they stay at 1 resource. I mean, I thought I showed them 2 cards. Oh, I can't show them 2. I see the issue now. Yeah, and then literally any attack kills me here. He strike for 6 go again, plus Blaze, plus Ember. Yeah, no, that's like, yeah, I think that was our best line. Yo, Smooches, thanks for the lurk. I appreciate it on Twitch. Let's go. They play Boom Grenade off the top, which is like perfectly fine because that Symbiosis shot kills us here. Man, we almost got there. 4-turn game. Our AVPT was 20.67, and we just weren't able to close out there. Yeah. We almost got there. That was tough. So I made a decision. I actively made a decision during that game to keep the Blaze Headlong instead of keeping the Brand with Cinderclaw because it was 1 more point. Red Brand with Cinderclaw is so much better for us there. How does he board into Dorinthia? He brings in Sink Belows. Gonna be honest, I would not have pegged him on Sink Below here. And he also takes out Arise from the Ashes. Interesting. I would not have pegged that. And he brings in 2 Command and Conquerors? He was also only on 2 Command and Conquerors. So I tell you what, like in the spirit of trying to stick with Lupin's sideboard plan here, we're going to bring in Command and Conquer, and I'm going to bring in Ancestral Empowerments. See if we can try to get there. What is this? I guess let's pitch these 2 cards. They're very awkward in our hand, so we'll just come in with Emberblade here to filter a little bit. Gives us a glint. I'm really interested that he's playing Sinks in this matchup because, like, I'm generally not a big fan of Sync in this matchup. Like, my experience in this matchup is that, like, it's all gas, no breaks is the only way to really win this game consistently. Wow. That's 7 cards without a blue. Also, we have the Phoenix Flame with the Flame Call Awakening, which is, like, uber bad. Oh, it's kind of funny, honestly. Yeah, let's just take 4, go to 36. I don't really think we have much of an option here. We could get Furnace and Shuko, but, like, I don't think that's really want to be. Gotta keep watching this spicy gameplay to get me revenge. Michael, we played a really good game, dude, and I honestly think, like, you were, like, 1 or 2 different cards, like, during your turns to, like, I think you were, like, 1 or 2 cards away from, like, coming out on top of that game. Like, I think, like, you were right there. Like, I just think that, like, my cards just lined up just a little bit better than yours did. I don't really feel like I outplayed you or anything like that. Like, we played a super close one, and it was just, I just wasn't able to get there. I think you lost when you made a turn when you blocked with Mask. You could block with Blue, Furnace, Shuko, play Brand, Blaze plus Phoenix to break the Mask to make Lava Burst. So I wasn't really considering. I'm not used to playing with Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. Like, I'll be honest, it's not a card I play with super regularly. But you're absolutely right. That was a play I could have made, and my brain automatically shifted to Brand, Blaze, Phoenix Flame, and I wasn't considering the fact that Mask would have just been able to go get 6 more points immediately. So if I block 6, take 4, go to 1, then my opponent's at 13, and my turn is 3, 7, 11, 12, 18. So my opponent is required to give me 2 cards from hand and heart. Or I guess they could just give me 2 cards from hand. They don't have to give me the heart as well. So yeah. Daniel, I think I've never seen it spelled that way, but I assume it's Daniel. Daniel, yeah, that was definitely a play that I could have made last turn. That would have been a much better play than, like, trying to rely on the Art of War. I think in my head I was like, okay, like, the Art of War is not going to get any better than this. You know what I mean? Like here's my Art of War. It's not going to get any better than it is now. We're only going to get lower life and have more cards taken from our hand, so I should have tried to get the value out of it that turn. Was my thought process there. I'm hoping the Snatch will make them give Bolters in a card here. They obviously want to keep their whole hand, so maybe they'll just decide that Mask, or like that the extra card is not worth it for them. I don't know. Curious. It be like that? Yes, sir. It does, Ben. It do be like that sometimes, fam. That's a really good card to draw. Especially to Arsenal here, so that's a fantastic card to draw. We're just going to Arsenal pass. Our opponent does have 5 cards. Like, and they're obviously playing some kind of, like, Courage Bolton, like, or not Bolton, Dory. Sorry, I've been playing against Bolton a lot lately online. Need to pull up my spreadsheet here. Oh, it's asking me to pick a card to Arsenal. Sorry, opponent. Let's go ahead and center all of these. Talishar, my opponent was playing Dashio. I went first and I lost. What's the new picture on your wall? So that is actually a Flesh and Blood poster that I got this past weekend, which I was really excited about. There was a lady there who had some extra posters and she was just giving them away to people. And I was like, no, that's perfect. I need something for my stream. Like, so no, that's absolutely perfect. Let's do it. And so I ended up getting an Emperor poster to put on the wall back there. So I feel like my wall is coming together very nicely. I feel like I'm getting some good things to add to my wall here. I'm just gonna say no blocks. We're just gonna give them the counter. Like, I honestly, like, this is probably just gonna be like a turn where we end up taking, like, going down to like 25, take like 11. I would say 10 to 11, like 10 to 12 is what we'll end up taking if I had to guess. Go down to about 25, 24, 26, somewhere in there. Give them a few counters, which is not great, but at the same time, like, this hand is just too good to pass up. So I could alternatively block, the Twinning Blade. That's very good for them. I could alternatively just, like, block 5 here and see what they do, but they might have, like, something in their hand. So they're just going to get to attack an additional time here. So I'm going to end up going to like 20 here. Yo, what's up, dog? How are you, brother? Appreciate you stopping by on Kick, man. Yeah, I'm new. I follow you sometimes. And I'm an Italian guy who plays Fai. Playing links and blocking means giving away at least 6 to 7 on the opponent. Yeah, so I mean, blocking links is like definitely like worst case scenario. And like something I definitely don't want to do ever. But it like without like me like super taking the time to like think about that one, it felt like the best option at the time was to take the damage and to just try to like figure it out later, and try to get value out of my Artivore. So like I definitely like your line better, Daniel. It was definitely like a better line. So like I think I would have gotten a lot more benefit out of taking your line as opposed to mine. So I'm gonna go buff and banish, and since I have snaps up, I'm gonna keep the Lava Burst. And we're gonna banish the Lava Vein Loyalty. And we end up with not a great one, but that is okay. So let's go Brand for 4 here. We do have 2 Chain Enders in our hand, so keeping the Lava Vein Loyalty would have been better. Because I would have been able to throw the Salta Wound, and then I would have also been able to turn around and throw like a Lava Burst or another Salta Wound off Mask if I wanted to here. Another risky thing when you play Emberblade is to banish the starter with Artivore. Maybe it was safer to banish Blaze. You could have done Brand, Emberblade, E-Strike for 8. Yeah, so Daniel, that was definitely like one of the lines that I was talking about. That was definitely one of the lines that I was talking about, that I definitely immediately got punished for not keeping my starter by trying to get more value out of my Blaze Headlong. And so that was like, I think that ended up definitely cost me some points right there. So definitely a mistake on my part, but yeah, that would have, like, if I'd have kept the starter, my turn is like so much better in that spot if I'm able to keep the starter. Activate Fai. Let's come in for 2. Do I want to turn on Pouncing Links here? I don't know. Like, I could Arsenal Salt and Wound and have it be pretty good later. I don't know. It's an interesting question here to ask ourselves. Anyway, congratulations for your always very interesting videos. See you in Barcelona. Good luck. Well, Daniel, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. I appreciate you stopping by the stream and hanging out tonight. And sadly, I will not be in Barcelona, man. But if you're playing in Barcelona, good luck. I wish for the best for you. I'll be sure to keep an eye out for your name, man, when you're at Barcelona. All right, so let's come in with Lava Burst for 6 here because or I'm sorry, for 7 because of Shuko. Our Salt the Wound is already going to be for 6. If this hits, our Salt the Wound will be for 7. And then we're still keeping our access to Mask here. Alternatively, if our opponent decides to take 7, I could snap and turn on my Mask, go get a Salt the Wound, and then arsenal my Salt the Wound so that I have it set up for a later turn when I can potentially try to end the turn with another big Salt the Wound. Okay, so our opponent wanted a block, I think. I'm going to go ahead and snap here and see what they do. Maybe they have a defense reaction. I feel like if they had a defense reaction, they wouldn't have blocked with bracers as well. They're currently taking 3 and going to 21. Next, Lava Burst is for 6. Salt the Wound is for 7. So other Salt the Wound is just better here. Yeah, this feels pretty good for us. Salt the Wound for 7 puts our opponent to 14. So we use Mask to really try to crawl us back into this game. And then I'm gonna try and have as big a turn as I can here. Well, this is definitely not it. Man, I have yet to have a decent empowerment turn this game. Was that the dominate? So 2, 4, 8. So I can't stop it here either way. So I guess I'm just going to go sink below and put the empowerment on the bottom. Or I guess I want to put the snatch on the bottom here, and because I guess the empowerment blocks for 3 if I need it to. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm hoping to draw here. This is a very awkward hand. So what, now this is 7 dominate? Or I'm sorry, it's 8 because this is +1 and dominate until the end of the turn. This is really bad. Gonna block Furnace and take 6, go to 5 here. Don't really know what our opponent's doing at this point. So right now, our turn is going to be... we have a couple of options here. We haven't seen a blue in quite a few cards here, and there are 15 in our deck. So we have a couple of options here, and we can pitch the Ancestral Empowerment. I'm going to assume I'm lagging, and I need to refresh here that they're trying to pass. No. Where... There it is. I can pitch the Flamecall Awakening, and I'm going to pitch the Flamecall Awakening, play the Mounting Anger, and then hope that we draw into something decent off of the Ancestral Empowerment here. Now, even if they block with 2 cards here, we don't get the hit effect, but they do get to continue their... they get to continue, like, they can just keep a blue and attack for, like, 8 every turn, which is, like, so good. Like, they had a Nourishing Emptiness turn really early into Glistening Steelblade and Iron Song Determination. We've played, like, a 3-turn game, and they've played 2 Iron Song Determinations, which is, like, very good for them, and it's, like, very hard for us to, like, play around that. Okay, so the blue's kind of cool. I mean, I'm not going to banish it here. I'm just going to keep my blue because it represents more points in my hand. We're going to go Emberblade here. This is a turn where keeping the Salta Wound was actually, like, pretty beneficial for us. They're going to be required to give us at least 1 card this turn. Okay, so them giving us a Steelblade Shunt now takes that away. But they still did give us 1 card here, so, like, it's not like they just didn't give us a card. Phoenix Flame is going to be for 1. They're going to go to 8. And then this is going to be for 5. I was like, if they go to 3 and keep their hand, like, it's not terrible for us. I mean, I can keep Rise from the Ashes and have a decent turn. Like, I can block 3, 5, 7, 9, 10. Play around anything that's not Overpower or Route here, but I'm never beating either of those cards once we're at this point in the game. I could alternatively block 3, 5, 7, 8, and then hope that they don't have 2 buffs here. And then I get to take 2 cards out of their hand. That's probably a better play. I mean, I guess if I'm going to do that, I'm just supposed to block with Rise from the Ashes, because I get to come in with 2 3s and a Phoenix Flame, as opposed to... Well, I guess it's a 6 and a 1. So they give us 2 cards and then they don't give us a card. Or they give us 2 cards and then they don't give us a card. So I guess it's either way, except it makes their red Steelblade Shunts better here, if that's the route they decide to go with, if they're going to do that. So if I block 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and if they just have 1 pump here, like, yeah, like, we can never beat the route in this spot. They're just going to route a card back to our hand, and we're going to take 6. Yeah, never a spot where we can play around the route from there. Again, we had an AVPT of 20.33. Like, these are pretty high numbers. Like, we're looking at really solid numbers here. The problem is that we're not drawing consistent hands. Like the hands that we're, like, drawing, like, aren't really looking that hot so far. Now, granted, I think game 1 we were in a position to win, and I think I just punted by not keeping my starter. I took a calculated risk by not keeping my starter, and I got punished for it, and that's just kind of how it goes. We're definitely going to go second against this deck. Just going to say good luck, have fun here. I got to type in my notes here. Fai, Talishar, and that was against, what did I just play against? Oh, Dorinthia. We were forced to go first yet again. All right. So I'm getting my notes checked in here so that I can keep up with them for later. Woohoo, more Fai, the micro decision machine. I mean, that is very true. That is a very accurate statement about Fai, I feel like. Let's see. Do you have a max on here? Let's see if he has max. He does have max on here. All right, so we have Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. I mean, he has 2 Command and Conquers in, and again, he cuts a Flame Call Awakening, a Rise from the Ashes. I wonder why. Let's try it like this. The Command and Conquers and 2 Ancestral Empowerments. I don't know. I'm curious to know his thoughts here on why he boards this way. Dude, are we like we're on 15 blues. I'm on the same amount of blues I've been playing. And for some reason, I just cannot draw blues. My opponent's on Banksy. Interesting. I'm just going to block with Command and Conquer because drawing a blue like makes my hand extremely explosive. Glad I'm able to catch the stream live. What's up, dude? Hey, Adya, what's going on? I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. And I am trying to prepare for what life is going to be like post-Lexi, which is kind of an exciting thing to say out loud if I'm being honest. Felt like this day was never going to get here, honestly. Which is kind of funny. What is his hand? This is really weird. I'm also trying out Emberblade Fai tonight because like I really like Emberblade Fai. Like I played Emberblade Fai a lot before I really got big into Kodachi Fai when Lexi was around. So I mean, and this is a hand where like I would pitch this for Kodachi and then E-Strike for 7, putting the Mounting Anger on the bottom, and then Arsenal my Flame Call Awakening. I honestly feel like this is just E-Strike for 7. Arsenal Flame Call Awakening, hang on to the Lava Burst because it blocks 3. Like, I feel like that's this turn. Like, I don't know, like, this is not a great hand here. Let's Arsenal this. Okay, so we draw some blues here. So I guess I can keep both of my blues and Arsenal the Mounting Anger here if I want to. I have a couple of options as far as this is concerned. I'm a huge Emberblade fan. Played it into multiple ProQuests and PTI top 8s. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. I was like, yeah, I love Emberblade Fai. I like that I get to play Flying Kick, if I'm being honest. That's like my biggest draw for it. The weirdest play is 5 go again into burst for 2. Yeah, that would have definitely been a play we could have made. I think that like keeping the burst in my hand gives me potential for later in the game. So if I block 3 here, my hand is Mounting Anger, Flame Call Awakening, Emberblade, pitching the Phoenix Flame into Activate Fai, Lava Burst. So that's if I block 3 here, which is 4, 7. I'm sorry, 4, 7, 10, 11, and 6 is 17. If I keep this, my hand is Mounting Anger, Flame Call Awakening, Pitch Brand for Emberblade. So that's 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18. So I gain 1 more point if I actually keep all of my cards. Or I get to have a 17-point hand plus block 3, which is 20. So I actually lose 2 points if I do that. So blocking 3 is worth here. So blocking 3 is the better play here because we get 20 points of value out of our hand versus the other side of the turn is getting 17 points of value out of our hand, which is much better for us. A line I would consider is Mounting Anger, pitch E-Strike, Awkward pitching the Lava Burst, or Awakening, pitching the Lava Burst, Flamescale Furnace to Phoenix Flame to swing Emberblade and grab Phoenix from Graveyard. That is definitely a very interesting line, Adya. That's something we definitely could have done. I don't hate that at all. And had I stared at that hand long enough, I probably would have figured something like that out. But that's not I don't think that's a terrible line at all. That's actually a really neat line there. It gives you more pressure than my hand got. The only difference is that we don't get to Arsenal the Flame Call Awakening. So I guess like I would say that early on in the game, I'm more interested in arsenaling. because I like being able to arsenal. I like being able to arsenal early on in the game and try to get value out of my Flame Call Awakening. Because Flame Call Awakening is often a 1 for 4 or a 1 for 5, depending on if it lets Shugo trigger or not. So this is for 3. We activate 5 for free. We come in with Phoenix Flame for 1. I mean, if my opponent takes 6 here, I could snap and Salt the Wound for 6. Which is, like, not bad. I mean, it seems pretty good, honestly. We're getting 6 points of value out of our mask here. And it also, like, puts us really far ahead here because my opponent obviously wants to keep their hand. Gives us an 18-point life lead, which is pretty solid, I would say. This hand is extremely good. We'll definitely be keeping this hand. We still only have 1 Phoenix Flame because we just pitched it, so I'm going to take 5 here. The big thing that could mess us up here is Harpoon. Harpoon would be pretty backbreaking for us. They activate Heart. Get the Phoenix Flame and Arsenal instead in that line. Oh, I see what you're saying, Z. You're saying that we end up arsenaling the other, like the Phoenix Flame, and we don't have a second one because we actually pitched Flame Call Awakening, right? Or no, we're Awakening pitching the Lava Burst. So we actually end up... Is that the Mechanoid? Oh god, that's terrifying. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Yeah, this is scary. This is very scary. We're gonna have to hope that we can just, like... I don't even know how we punch through this. This is gonna be a tough one to negotiate. Hey, Keshkar, what's going on, man? How are you, buddy? I guess I'm not pitching anything, but let's go Brand for 3. They'll probably start blocking with a lot of cards from their hand, because being able to throw 6 every turn is just, like, super value. It just turns their hand, it just turns their cards into, like, super good plays every turn. Yeah, that was my point. Plus 3 damage on the turn, but a weaker arsenal. Turn 3 Mechanoid, LMAO. Yeah, Ruh-roh Mechanoid Scary is very accurate. The fact that they went turn 3 Mechanoid is, like, honestly terrifying. I'm also super surprised that they're not blocking here. Like, I don't understand why they're not, like, why they're not blocking here. Your turn is just super strong if they continue to just block and... Like, if they just block and just throw 6 every turn, they get so much value out of that. So this does not threaten Mask. Like, this doesn't threaten anything. So I think I might be better off arsenaling this card and trying to give up my equipment and hoping for an Art of War here. I think hanging on to this is the better play. Now, I drew an Art of War. I just didn't draw. I mean, I think we're going to have to hope to get lucky here. Pitch Mounting Anger to play Art of War, banish Blaze Headlong, and then hope we get a little bit lucky, because every single card threatens lethal here. Because we go to 7, and then when they come in with the Mechanoid, we go to 1. And we're just committing to always losing to the Mechanoid with this line, which is, I would say, not great. Good. Got my Nutella banana bread. Nutella banana bread. I don't know that I've ever had that. I don't think I've really, like, ever, like, I never really got into the whole, like, Nutella craze, Keshkar. I mean, I heard that, like, a lot of people like it. Like, and I know a lot of people that, like, you know, eat it. So, like, I definitely understand, like, where it comes from, but, like, I never really got into that whole, like, craze. If they have High Octane, it's over. Yeah, Z, we were never beating High Octane there. I would Arsenal, give them no value for their Nitro block. Oh, yeah. So they don't just get to block with Nitro for free if I throw the Lava Vein loyalty last turn. They were waiting as long as possible. That's absolutely another reason that's correct. You need to send the 0 for 3 as bait. Are you talking about sending the 0 for 3 like as bait like last turn, or are you talking about now? Or are you talking about send the brand before we play Art of War and see if they don't block? That's interesting. I actually think that's pretty spicy. We're gonna do that and see how that goes. This also just gives us an opportunity to push through a point of damage here if they block with one card, so I kind of like that as well. So we're gonna go buff and banish. We're gonna banish this and hope we draw some good stuff here. I mean, that's not great. I mean, that's actually not terrible. We put our opponent to 2. Is this better than I think it is? I know we're definitely doing this. I mean, the Nutella and banana are on bread. Oh, so it's banana and Nutella on bread. Okay, gotcha. I thought it was banana, like banana nut bread with Nutella on it. Nutella is very big in Poland. Yeah, so I mean, like, Nutella's very big in, like, the US as well. Like, it's just, like, like, it's very big in the US, but peanut butter is definitely more popular. Yeah, absolutely. If they don't block with Mechanoid, they lose. Yeah, no, that's fair. Right now, yeah. I think we win. I just have to make sure I walk through this line correctly here. So I've thrown 2. Oh, for sure? Okay, well now I want to make sure I don't mess this up. Blaze into Phoenix, pitch for Flamescale CNC. Oh, you're absolutely right, because this is my 3rd chain link here. So I can come in for 5. They give us 2 cards here, and then we get to activate Fai as an instant. So the funny part is there's actually multiple ways to win the game from here, I think. If we attack with the Phoenix Flame and get their last card out, we throw Emberblade at them to end the game. But this also ends the game right here. So there were multiple ways to win that game, actually, which is kind of neat and like good to know. I'm curious to know what they want to chat about here. Interesting line of play, though. Good catch. Good catch, guys. My opponent was super nice about it. Like, he literally said, like, rip Bozo for me missing the block last turn, LMAO. I just assumed that my opponent was taking a calculated risk by blocking at the end of the turn. And trying to, like, hold on for a snatch or something like that. I think Fai is going to be really good soon, so thank you for the testing. Yeah, my opponent's super nice. He said he appreciates the game. I told him thanks that, you know, like, I appreciated the game. Because I do. Like, even when I lose, I always appreciate the games I get to play because I feel like I can learn stuff and move forward with them there. So, peanut butter is definitely more popular. Nutella seems more like a treat. I bet your Nutella is better than ours. Haha. Why would Polish Nutella be better than US Nutella? I'm actually curious to know. Keshkar, I feel like this is something we're going to have to try and, like, rate and, like, try to figure out some kind of system or something here, man, because I don't know. This is getting interesting. Carly thinks that your all's Nutella is better. The rare game where you activate Flamescale Furnace twice? Yeah, Z, I'm going to be honest. We were doing our best Dromai impression in that game, trying to activate Flamescale Furnace as much as we could. I was like, well, yeah, activating it twice is crazy. Not something you see very regularly. Because ours is full of oil and crap and other terrible things that Europe bans. That's fair. That's fair. We do get a lot of, like, processed garbage in the US. So let's see what we have for old Dashy Boy here. What have we cut so far? So we're basically, okay, so he's cutting blues. It is interesting to note that Lupine Fiasco was on 12 main deck blues and 3 in the sideboard. I think that's... like, honestly, I just think that's wrong. I'm a firm believer that, like, the 15 blues is necessity. Like, let's just make sure I'm not miscounting here. 3, 6... 9, yeah, 3, 6 over here, 9 are here, 12, and then this is 15. Yeah, there's no more blues anywhere that I'm missing. I'm going to do what I normally do against Dash, and I'm going to add in my 3 Ancestral Empowerments here, and just kind of run it and try to see, like, how it feels. I'm not really sure, like, I haven't felt, like, the Dash game earlier didn't feel super great. Having a stroke right now. Oh, this is control dash. This is like big control dash. So I think it's better not to let them filter here, if I'm being honest. And I think we're just going to Arsenal the Flame Call Awakening. Like, I don't want to let my opponent Arsenal. Or I don't want to let my opponent filter cards. And now they had it rolled up, so that's pretty good for them. But either way. Well, our Nutella is also just palm oil and sugar, so... well, at least we're all stuck with the same oil-based Nutella. I mean, that's true. My fab hot take is that unless you are Icelander, blues should never be sideboarded. Okay, so it's interesting to hear you say that, because like I like Z, I'm not gonna like just sit here and say you're wrong. Like, you know, I don't think that's like a, I think just sitting here saying you're wrong is like just not a healthy point of view. I like to sideboard blues for the Icelander matchup in Fai specifically. I have 2 energy potions in the sideboard that Lupine was not running specifically for the Icelander matchup. But I definitely hear your point of view and see what you're saying. As far as that's concerned, like a lot of times, like blues are like kind of awkward in the sideboard. I think it's pretty common that like a lot of people like to actually play blues in their sideboard though for Icelander matchup. Do you still think it's wrong to play it? Do you still think it's wrong? Like, do you think it's like is your hot take still that it's incorrect to play blues for Icelander in the sideboard? I'm curious to know how you feel about that. I've thrown 3 attacks at our opponent, and we still have 3 cards in our, or we throw them 4 attacks, and we still have 3 cards in our hand, which is like honestly absolutely bonkers. This feels like a pretty good Salto Wound turn here, if I'm just being honest. Like, our opponent obviously wants to keep their hand, and if I go get it now, Salto Wound is going to be for 6. If this hits. So now our opponent's like pretty incentivized to block here. I'm going to go ahead and do it, and we are going to get a Salto Wound here because it's going to be for 6. Blaze Headlong for 4, go again, which is pretty solid. Unless they're going to give up some base equipment here, like this is like pretty good for us. So they give us Fate Foreseen on this. We're going to throw the Snatch, and we're going to use our snaps here. Z, I can't see your messages in my chat, only on stream screen. That's weird. So Keshgar, that's actually set up that way intentionally. Normally, I have my restream chats combined, so that like everybody can see all of the messages that are happening across all chats. But since I'm streaming on Twitch, YouTube, and Kick all at the same time, part of Twitch's policies is that you all like that the Twitch chat is not merged with other platforms. So you can't see it because he's on YouTube, and because you're on Twitch. So that's like really the big reason for that being set up that way, is because this is a really good turn. This is an insanely strong turn right here. But it's set up that way because of Twitch's policies. So that's why it's set up that way, Keshgar. So our opponent's just going to start blocking here. We're going to go Flame Call Awakening. Get our last Phoenix Flame from our deck. And then we get to make a pretty sweet play here where we're going to attack with a Phoenix Flame, activate Fai, and then come in for 7, keeping a Phoenix Flame in our deck. So our opponent basically just blocks 3 there. They don't actually get any value off of their off of the Fighting Spirit. I mean, they do get value off of it, but they don't get to like block and like gain value. This is a pretty solid 4-card hand here. We put our opponent to 25 pretty quickly. This hand is like so incredibly awkward. I think I can take some damage here. It's fine. I don't play Fai specifically, so maybe it's very needed due to Emberblade costing 2 versus Icelander. So I mean, I was playing 1 extra blue in my Kodachi list into Icelander, but I think it's pretty necessary as an Emberblade Fai list. Now there could be other people who play Fai that could just like disagree with me on that. Like, I'm definitely not saying that like my knowledge is the end all be all there by any means, but I definitely think that it's like it's needed for Emberblade to help in the matchup. So I can just give Lava Burst and Ancestral Empowerment, throw the Emberblade, and then Arsenal Snatch. I think that's a pretty good turn for us. We get to block 6 and then play some pretty decent offense, or like pretty mediocre offense, honestly. But we have a 9-point turn cycle off of 3 cards, and then we get to Arsenal or Snatch here and try to set up for a little bit of a better turn. Hopefully we don't get too many turn enders. Like, getting multiple turn enders in multiple hands like makes things a little tough at certain times. Keshkar, what time is it in Poland? That's just like me being curious. Like, okay, well, Chief called. This hand ain't it. So block Ancestral Empowerment here. E-Strike, go again, putting the Flame Call Awakening on the bottom. Throw the Snatch, Arsenal the Artivore here. I hate giving up our Ancestral Empowerments on defense. But, I mean, I think it's something that we have to do considering our circumstances right now. It's 3:43 a.m. Oh, wow. So it's pretty late there, dude. I was like, so you guys in Poland, you're about 6 hours ahead of us is what it sounds like. Yeah, because it's 9:40. It's like 9:44 here now. So, yeah, you're 6 hours ahead of me. Big win also is that Fai is the best ninja to fight fatigue. Yeah, so I really like playing Fai into like these control style dash decks because like so often you find yourself like you don't really even like have to really play around their strategy. Like the double Phoenix Flame in your deck is just super good and like gives you so much value. This is also like a really good hand. As long as my opponent doesn't have like a Command and Conquer here. Oh, dude, bet. I imagine I was like, they're probably on like 1, maybe 2 copies of Remembrance here. What'd they shuffle in? A suite of Fighting Spirits. So I'm going to banish the Flying Kick here because the odds of me getting to play the Flying Kick are not super likely. And Lava Vein Loyalty has go again with my hand. All right, so this is a really good hand. Yeah, at the end of the game, when we like get down to like where we're actually worried about like running out of cards and we have multiple blues in each of our hands, we can actually pitch a blue during our opponent's turn to grab a Phoenix Flame, and then we can attack and take multiple cards out of their hand with the Emberblade each turn, which is like actually a really nice play that we can make. So this is for 3. We've played what, 1 Artivore so far? Oh, they're on the Terminator tank list, which I think if you're going to be playing this style deck, I think that's the correct way to go about it, personally. This is another situation where you attack first and bait the 3-block to chick damage in reactions with your Artivore. So that's definitely a play we could have made, and I guess like knowing that we're gonna lead on the Rising Resentment, there's no shame, like there's no harm in us doing that. I think I'm somebody who likes to work off of like full knowledge and like knowing what's gonna be in my hand and like what I can get value with. So I like to like wait as long as I can to be able to actually know what I'm keeping and like what I need to like know what I'm like gonna keep, like, and how the best way to play my turn is. But against this style deck, Z, you're probably correct that it's honestly probably just the most correct to be able to it's probably the most correct here just to actually just to play it as a reaction. And now that we have our second Artivore here, we're going to try and make sure that we do it in that fashion this time around so that we can get the most value out of it. Is our opponent taking 4 here? I was like, nah, there's no way. Okay, so our opponent takes 4. And then I'm just going to throw Emberblade. If this game does go the distance, it doesn't look like it's going to. We're pitching 2 reds into our deck, which is really solid for us. And then we're setting up our Artivore here in our arsenal, so that we're giving ourselves some like later game play here. Oh, man. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. So I really want to keep the E-Strike here. This is interesting. Hashtag double lurking. Look at Kyle doing all the support. Guys, if you all play phone games like me, you guys, like, I play a lot of Clash of Clans, then you guys should check out the Woodshed. You can actually hit ! Kyle in the chat and he'll pull up the link to his channel on YouTube. He's a Clash of Clans YouTuber, makes a lot of really good content. Especially if you're new to the game. It's really great if you're new to the game. This is probably going to be an unpopular take here because I'm giving up some points. But I'm actually just going to go like this. And I'm going to throw in Lightning Strike for 7. I want to keep the E-Strike and I want to keep putting on pressure here. Reaction Step Artivore was going to be spicy. Oh, absolutely. Like, Reaction Step Artivore is, like, really interesting. And I'm definitely, like, not, like, I'm definitely not saying that playing Reaction Step Artivore is wrong. In fact, I think it's probably correct against these style decks. Now, this is something I don't care about. Just block with E-Strike and EQ, right? We chillin'. So when you say block E-Strike and like the Lava Vein Loyalty, I assume it's what you mean. I wanted to play the E-Strike there. Like, blocking with the 2/3 blocks is clearly like, honestly like it's like the easiest block to find. But I like giving up my Furnace here because I'm up on life. I'm not going to have to give up many blocking cards, or I'm not going to have to use my equipment very often. So I think getting rid of a 2-block to be able to keep my E-Strike is a better play there, Keshkar. No, I like the block. Okay, thanks, Z. I appreciate it, man. So let's play the Rising Resentment. Let's go for the reaction step. Let's go for the reaction step Artivore here. And they do give us a 3-block, which is like very good for us. So we do just get a lot of value here. We don't really want to make anything cost less. So getting the extra point there is really solid. Let's go Emberblade. Oh, Shuko is Blade Break, right? Yes, Shuko is Blade Break. If Shuko was Temper, then we definitely would have blocked with it because that would have been a really cool line for us. But unfortunately, Shuko is Blade Break. So the second we get rid of it, it is gone. So it'd be a heck of a turn to actually have something we could reduce the cost of. But sadly, we do not. This is for 2. Our opponent more than likely takes 2. Ravenous Rabble is for 5. Let's go. Looking good. Looking good. We put our opponent to 11. And then this is for 4 because of Shuko. And we put our opponent to 7. So we have 28 cards left in our deck. And our opponent is already at 7. So Fai just kind of like running them over here. Like we're just kind of running them over. I don't really think that Control Dash has enough play into Fai. One of the guys that like I'm friends with like locally played a lot of Control Dash when Jacob Baugh like top 8'd 2022 US Nats with it. And I was boarding as if he was playing regular Fai, not even preparing for Control Dash, and I was still beating the deck, and I was still beating him consistently. And I say that to like talk about that he's a really good player. Like he's a very good player, so it's not like somebody that like I think we're like sleep like that like is just like a scrub that I was beating up on or anything. Oh my gosh, what a draw step. What a draw step. You love to see it. Yeah, this is Fai gaming. Oh, 100%. This feels so much better than the first 2 games that we played. The first 2 games that we played felt like very awkward and like we didn't really like have a lot of ground and like we were just ending up in a lot of awkward spots. But like like this game, like I know that like this is an easy deck for it to feel like we're gaming, you know what I mean? But like at the same time, like this is like really good. Gives up the leg piece there. Interesting. This is for 1. No Shuko this turn, unfortunately. I guess I could just make the play of arsenaling Phoenix Flames and then start like the perpetual cycle of like kind of like keeping Phoenix Flames in my arsenal. You got to give me Tunic and that last card, and you go to 7 here. Rise from the Ashes is so good. Rise from the Ashes is so good. Let's hope they don't have a defense reaction. So we're going to come in for 7 here. If they have a defense reaction. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What a win. Gamer's gonna game. Gamer's gonna game. This feels good. So we come in for 2 here. And then normally I would arsenal my Ronin Renegade to try to set up for a bigger turn, but my opponent has no cards in hand and no equipment, so I'm just going to push through the free damage that we have here. Just put our opponent to 3. This is an interesting hand. Is this just gonna be... Okay, no, I found it. Okay, I was having a small stroke, but I found it. It took me a second to like find it here, but we got it. We're coming in for 3 with the Phoenix Flame. Emberblade for 3. I think my opponent's just dead here. Okay, not now. Unless they have like an item in their hand, because this is for 6. If that would have been for 4, my opponent was just dead. Oh, wow, they're still just dead? You love to see it. Our opponent just said good game. Yeah, we had 19 cards left in our deck when that game ended. Like we were able to like that. Like I'm glad that I took a second and looked at that line, because that was actually a pretty good hand, all things considered. But at first, like I feel like an amateur 5 player or somebody like me who even like just reads too quickly and like doesn't like think all the line all the way through right there definitely would have gotten got by that. So definitely it felt really good. Really felt good to find that line there. Actually let us win the game there. All right, so we're feeling a little bit better now. Things are looking up. We're 2-2 now. List is starting to click just a little bit more here. Guys, thanks for hanging out tonight. Appreciate everybody being a part of the stream. Hopefully you guys feel comfortable with the games. And that you feel like you guys are getting good stuff out of it. Let's look at this Azalea matchup and see what he has here. So we're on Mask still. So he's not on Sink Below or Reinforce the Line. He had both of them in his sideboard, so I know he doesn't want them in this matchup. Command and Conquer and 2 Ancestral Empowerments. Is he on Pouncing Link still? He is. This is a interesting hand. Rise from the Ashes, Phoenix Flame for 3, Rabble for 4, Arsenal Lava Burst. I guess is the play here, or I can just not let them filter and I can just pass. I could also just attack with Emberblade. I don't know. I like all of these cards, but I don't like them in the same hand. Ah, this is interesting. Missed the beginning of the stream. You end up getting your invite week 3 of ProQuest. Sadly, Monday I did not. I had a pretty not great Saturday at a draft ProQuest. I finished 9th out of 12 people, which was pretty disappointing for me. 9th out of 12 people is not did not feel good. I feel like I'm definitely better than 9th out of 12 people. Generally as a player, but there were a lot of good people there, so that was a pretty tough day. And then on yesterday, I'm gonna Arsenal the Rabble because Lava Burst blocks for 3 if we need it to. This hand's weird. Yesterday I ended up losing the top 4 to Lexi. We played a 6-turn game. And on turns 2 and turn 4, my opponent actually had Rainrazor's 3 of a Kind turn on turns 2 and turn 4. So I ended up losing the top 4, which was a little sad. I think blocking 6 here is definitely the play. I think if we block 6 here, we kind of shut our opponent's turn down and don't really let them have anything good here. And then we get to go Rabble, Arsenal, Lava Burst, which is really solid. Hopefully we got a red on top. We do, thankfully. So both of our Rabbles are looking good. Are you going to Barcelona? No, I'm actually not going to Barcelona or Barcelona. I always feel weird saying it because that's not how as an American I would pronounce it, but I know that that's how they pronounce it. I know that's how they pronounce the city name, where they're actually from. So I don't know. I always feel weird, now I will. No, I will not be in Barcelona. I wish I could be, but I will not be. I would love to be there, but I cannot go. It's an expensive trip to leave the country, especially towards the end of the year with all the holiday travel. So it's just one of those things that I'm going to have to pass up on, and hopefully be at Worlds next year. So wait. That Azalea isn't on Bullseye Bracers. I did notice they were not on Bullseye Bracers, which I think is pretty interesting. Don't really know, why they're not on Bullseye Bracers. I'm just assuming they haven't updated their list since with the new changes and everything like that. Someone tell them it's back. Dude, absolutely. Someone tell them it's back. So this is kind of weird, but I think the best play here for us is actually just a block 5, take 5. The Ponder doesn't really matter here because they have a card. And then I can just throw my brand and keep the Art of War in my hand. Now, the other option is for me to just block 7, take 3, throw the Lava Burst for 2, and then arsenal my Artivore. That's not a great turn at all, and I really don't like that turn. I would rather try and get value out of the Lava Burst, but one of the unfortunate things is that you can't just sit on your cards forever. I'm going to try and get value out of my Lava Burst here, and I'm going to hope that they can't just recur another red in the ledger. That's kind of what I'm hoping for at this point, so... we'll throw Brand, and then we'll just pass here. I was inspired by your 5-game play, and to him to 2 top 8s. Couldn't finish, though. Well, dude, 1, thank you for that. That's super nice of you to say, and I really appreciate that. That means a lot. It is a great feeling to know that people like to like to watch my games, and 2 that like that my deck lists help people top 8 and stuff like that. So, dude, that's awesome, man. Congrats on making top 8 of 2 ProQuests. That's really exciting. So for anybody who doesn't know me super well, just know that when I talk about not top 8ing ProQuests and if I talk about only making top 4 of a ProQuest, know that top 8ing ProQuests almost anywhere in the world at this point in time is very impressive. There are a lot of great people who play Flesh and Blood. There are so many good players around the world right now, and just in so many places that when, oh my gosh, there's a red in the ledger on top. Dude, are you serious? So anytime you top 8 a ProQuest or anything, that is a very good goal to have, and that's very it's a very impressive goal to have, honestly. It's just it's just one of those things for me personally that I've been grinding for a while, and I really want to win one, and I really want to convert. Going to the Pro Tour is a dream of mine, and I've not been able to accomplish that yet. The Dominate here is a real big problem, so block Lava Burst, pitch Flying Kick for Emberblade. Back-to-back red in the ledgers is pretty good for them. Throwing Rising Resentment or pitching the Flying Kick are both 3 damage, but I get to keep a card in my deck versus losing a card this way, so definitely a better line for me this way. My top 8 round 1 was Yanji on Lexi, so definitely rough. Dude, that's a tough top 8 match. Yanji's a very good player. Yanji is a very good player who definitely, deserves respect on their name for sure. I really need this drill shot to be all they can do this turn. I need to have a big turn here. The Frailty's not completely backbreaking because we have a... Oh my gosh. The Frailty's not completely backbreaking here because we have Emberblade. Am I about to go to 13 here? I guess go to 11, really? I think so. I think this is what we're doing here. Artivore turn time? Yeah, no, I'm glad that we get a turn to actually try and make something happen. So I guess I can just go ahead and play the Rising Resentment and then use the Artivore as a reaction here for +1 and banish the E-Strike, just to kind of see what happens. Buff and banish. I can hear Carly listening to my Fortnite short that I just posted a little bit ago. Or I totally just said I was going to do that as a reaction and then just played it instinctively. Sometimes my brain, I swear, just doesn't work. It's definitely not what I meant to do, but we'll see how many things hit here, and we'll try to get our Mask of the Pouncing Lynx to go get a Salta Wound here and try to make something happen. Let's go Emberblade for 2. They might give us Perch here just to stop this. Would be a pretty heads-up play for my opponent that I'm going to use Mask this turn. So if they give Perch here, it's actually a pretty heads-up block from our opponent here. I actually really respect that block from our opponent. It's like an insanely good value block for them. Phoenix Flame for 3. Blaze Headlong for 5. If this hits, I'm going to go ahead and turn on Mask. Because if this hits, I'm going to go ahead and get Assault to Wound, because Assault to Wound is now going to be for 7. This is for 5 because of the Frailty token. We're going to go ahead and use Snaps. Our opponent goes to 13. And then this is now for 8, right? Yeah, 8. This is, I mean, this was a pretty good turn. Like, we're putting our opponent to 5 here. We are going to be at 11 when the turn ends, but, like, our opponent's either going to give us a card or 2 here, or they're going to go to 5. We have a 6-point lead going into what is probably, if I had to presume, one of the last 2 turns of the game. I don't think my opponent will end the game here, but they could. If our opponent has another red in the ledger, we're in pretty bad shape. Well, this hand's not great. Surprised they didn't play that last turn. Surprised they did not play that last turn. That's either a really not a good move from our opponent, or that's a lot of patience. A lot of patience. Azalea be like, cool, anyway, my turn. Keshkar, that's so true. That's sweet. Hey, watch this. Red in the ledger. Oh, it's so accurate, dude. It's so accurate. So, if I give up Furnace and Shuko here, my turn is looking like pitch commanding card, or I guess, so I can go 4, 7, 10, or it's 3, 9. So my turn is Mounting Anger into Rising Ronin Renegade into Phoenix Flame. So let's take 3 here. We'll go to 9. I mean, I'm going to go to 3 to take 2 cards out of our opponent's hand, maybe 3 here if they block incorrectly. The only problem with us being at 3 is that anytime they can nominate something, we're in a pretty bad spot, all things considered. Now they have to consider, is the Rising Resentment actually worth? Like, is this on-hit effect worth it? I mean, making something cost 0 could, like, turn our hand on here and give us something to do. Now, it doesn't, but it could. So, it's worth noting that. Their buffs are 2 blocks at least. So, Z, one of the things that, like, actually really helps us out at the end of the game, in my opinion, is that their buffs are 2 blocks. Okay, so Sigil of Solace was the second card we got out of their hand. So they just stay at 2. So if I'm able to block 8 and play Warmonger's Diplomacy here, I could actually have, like, a really cool turn. Or I guess I'm just dead. Nah, the knock lets them kill me. Yeah, the knock just lets them kill me. Man, Sag. Sag, big Sag. I needed them to have to like just play an arrow off of Death Dealer. We take 5 and die. Was a good game. Our opponent played well there. We had a really big turn here on turn 5. The red and the ledgers on turn 3 and 4 were very strong. That was like their really big turns. Like red and the ledger is just such an aggro punisher. Like if you're playing aggro decks and you play against red and the ledger, it's just so good for them. It's so solid. Okay, man. Thanks for hanging out, Keshkar. Hope you have a good night, buddy. Appreciate you staying up late, man, just to hang out with me. It means a lot, dude. Means a lot. What do you have for the old Vincent matchup here, Lupine? He's actually on Tide Flippers here. Interesting. Not something I would have pegged. Not something I would have pegged. Yeah, I definitely would not have put us on Tide Flippers in this matchup. So let's see here. Sorry, I'm filling out my sheet here for all the games that we played so far tonight. Gotta go back and remember here in a minute what all I played against in previous rounds. Make sure that I keep up with that so that all those numbers are good to go. Banish a Funeral Moon, activate Grasp, and then play Funeral Moon to create 3 Rune Chants on turn 0. That's not bad. That's not a bad turn at all. So Rising Resentment, although our turn is pretty solid. Our turn's pretty good. Like we have a pretty solid one here. I really like being on 3 Flame Call Awakening and 3 Phoenix Flame. This is something that I don't really feel like the Kadachi list utilizes very well. And that Emberblade just gives you so much more Phoenix Flame. Like you get Phoenix Flame action so much more consistently, I feel like. So it changes everything. No, we're not going to make anything cost less here. And then Emberblade. Planning on attending any more events this year? Justin, so there was talk about... I had talked about going to Pittsburgh this weekend, honestly. I just don't think I'm going to. With this weekend kind of being the wild, wild west of events. And I don't really like... It's a 6-hour drive to Pittsburgh for me, so I don't feel super... Like, it'd be 6 hours in the car Friday afternoon after work, and then, 6 hours back on Sunday, and I'm going to be honest, it's just a lot of driving for me, so I just don't really feel like making that haul in general, so probably not. I know there's a calling. Somebody was telling me about a calling in January that they have planned somewhere in the US. I'm probably going to try and go to that. But other than that, no, I don't really have many events planned for the rest of the year. What about you, Justin? You got any big plans for the rest of the year? Anything crazy? So I could make the play here of just mask for I could just go ahead and turn on mask here for get Salt the Wound and then Tide Flippers it and then throw Snatch. I think it's probably better just to go ahead and throw my Snatch here and save the Mask of the Pouncing Lynx for a turn when I actually need a turn ender. Gives a Read the Runes and Grasp here. So we're getting all of their equipment pretty early, which is good for us. So I can't prevent the first one. I'm actually going to prevent these. Say as high a left total as I can here while it's convenient. And then this is actually for 6. So I'm just going to block 6 and then I'm just going to throw the Snatch on my turn. And set up for a And what does this say? So they're already going to make 2 rune chants. I mean, the difference in 2 and 3 could actually be pretty relevant here. I don't know. I'm just going to go to 38 and hope I don't get punished too much. Orlando in December and the Realm Games event in December. I think it's in Ohio. I haven't decided yet. Nothing this month. So I actually didn't know that there was anything in Orlando in December. I mean, it's quite a bit. It's quite a drive for me. It's like 10 hours to get to Orlando, but that'd be kind of cool. I'd consider doing something like that in December, depending on when it was. I don't know. Like, is it a calling? Is it a battle harden? And the Realm Games thing, that's like invite only, right? Because I know I don't have an invite to that, but I might consider going to that if there was like a calling or something I could play in just to, like, you know, hang out. Because Ohio for me is about 5 or 6 hours. Like, it's really not that bad. And it's also, I think it's also better for me if I could like plan out the event and like feel more comfortable, like taking the time to like plan it out and be ready for it. So this seems like a good block 3 E-Strike for 7 Arsenal my Art of War turn. I don't have anything in my arsenal here, so we are not getting rid of anything. So we're just gonna take 6 here, go to 27. And then we'll throw E-Strike for 7, Arsenal or Art of War. And try to set up for a big turn here where we can try to like really push a lot of damage here. Battle Hardened for Orlando, December 8th through the 10th. Okay, cool. So it's pretty early in December, which is good. Because normally we have so many family things that happen in December, like for the holidays and stuff like that. Which don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, like don't get me wrong. Like, you know, like having a lot of family stuff is good. I'm glad that I'm close with my family and that, you know, like that Carly's close with her family. Like, I'm glad that those are like things that are happening in our lives. But at the same time, like, it makes the end of the year very busy for us. I already had to like go out of my way to like carve out quite a bit of time for ProQuest season at the end of the year, because like I just like normally ProQuests are like in January or February, and like that the beginning of the year is so much more available for me, and it just wasn't the case this time around. What is this? Banish the top card? Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Like, I think we're just taking this here and going to taking some damage here. So if I take 6, I go to 18, and then I get to pitch Art of War, play Art of War, banish Flamecall Awaken, or banish Lava Burst. Without having snaps, I don't feel comfortable keeping a turn ender in my hand. I always have mass to go get a turn ender if I need it. Ooh. Gonna play Read the Runes here? Yep. It's a good play. It's a good play. So they have 3 rune chants set up, and we're gonna try to make something cool happen here. Let's see what we get here off of our Art of War. There's a PTI event that's open for the Realm Tour, I think. The 2 big ones are invite only. Ah, gotcha. Orlando is a battle hardened. Okay, yeah. So what Monday was talking about. The Realm has a 10K open December 2nd through the 3rd. Oh, that's cool, Gabe. Gabe, where is that? Where's that at? Where's the Realm the 10K open at? Do you know off the top of your head? And if you don't, that's perfectly fine. I'm just curious to find out. This is actually turning out to be quite a hand here. This is pretty good. So we're going to come in with Mounting Anger for 5. We can banish the Blaze Headlong here to get, like, just value town here. We're also probably going to go get Assault the Wound here. There's 1 left in our deck, and I want to make sure that we get use out of our... we want to make sure that we get use out of the Mask of the Pouncing Lynx here before it's too late. It's let's see. It's in Columbus. Oh, okay, gotcha. So is that also the weekend of the is that also the weekend of like the 10K? Or wait, not the 10K, sorry, that's what we're talking about. Is that also the weekend of the of like the big round games tournament? Like, are they having an open like tournament that weekend, the same time? Because that would be really cool if they were. Hey, bud, thanks for streaming, dude. Absolutely, man. Dadbot, thanks for stopping by the stream and hanging out. I appreciate you coming by the chat and hanging out with us tonight. So Salt of Wound's not looking too great from here, but I mean, that could turn around. I'm going to wait before we turn on Mask here. I'm not super interested in turning on Mask just yet. This is going to be for 2. I'm probably going to wait and block this here if I had to guess. This is going to be for 3 because of Shuko. Curious to know if they give us a card here or not. They do give us a card here, which means I imagine they want to play their last card, if I had to guess. Blaze Headlong for 5, and I am going to turn on the Mask of the Pouncing Lynx here. So our opponent goes to 18. They want to play their last card off of the 3 rune chance that they have, I assume is the case. And we're going to tutor up our last Salt of Wound here. And then Salt of Wound is going to be for 7. Which is sweet. Feels pretty good here. 20K Invitational is the same weekend, yeah? Yeah, pretty sure it's all the same weekend. Team Sealed event, too, if I remember correctly. Now, Team Sealed event, that's something I do, Justin. That's Team Sealed, like, that's what I'm talking about. I like any kind of team event, brother. Team events is just where I'm at. Like, I just like those kinds of events. They're fun. Ew. I mean, we take 10. Well, I guess we'll block with Furnace here. How does one go about playing this game online as a noob such as myself? Well, dude, so like Dadbot, don't ever feel like weird about like playing this game. Like if you're new to like card games, or like even if you're just new to Flesh and Blood, man, like don't ever feel bad about getting into the game. Like if you get online and tell people, I guess we banish this and then 369. Damn, you're fine, and then we go into Phoenix Flame here. Like yeah, so I play on a service called it's called Talishar.net. You can play online for free, which is really convenient. And you also have the ability to like make your own decks and then import them into it so you can play games. So like I don't know if you've ever heard of Flesh and Blood or if you're a big Flesh and Blood player. But it's like Flesh and Blood's awesome. It's really fun, and like there's a great community. So if you like hop on, like in the description or whatever, put that like you're new to the game. Whoever you play against will be more than happy to like walk through the game with you and like talk to you about those kinds of things. So that's always like an upside for like new players if that's something that like you're actually looking to do, is like get into Flesh and Blood. Everybody in the community that like I would say like 99.99999% of the people I have met have been awesome. There's been a couple of people who have just kind of felt like they were like, just kind of like mad at the world. Should we Arsenal this? I think the answer is yes. Yeah, I think we're going to Arsenal this. I think we're going to Arsenal this and try to set up for a better turn. And we are immediately rewarded. Oh my God, this hand is so good. This hand is so good, it's crazy. New to TCG and Flesh and Blood? Okay, cool. Well, Dadbot, welcome to the game, man. I appreciate you being a part of the community, and I hope you enjoy it. I've fallen in love with Flesh and Blood over the last couple of years. Definitely want to get into it. What's a good Discord? So there's actually an official Flesh and Blood TCG Discord. I think you can find it if you go to Fab TCG. That's FABTCG.com. I think you can actually find the official Discord for there. And they talk about all kinds of different decks. They talk about like some like online tournaments you might be able to play in. Like there is all kinds of stuff that they talk about in those tournaments. I think I have to open with the Phoenix Flame, right? Yeah, I hate that we have to give up one of the points here on the Phoenix Flame, but I think we have to open with it. Phoenix Flame, into Searing Emberblade, Lava Vein Loyalty, activate Fai, E-Strike for 7. So this is actually going to be for 2 because of Shuko, which is really sweet because it puts our opponent to 6 here. But yeah, I think in the official Discord server, like I know that in the official Discord server for Flesh and Blood, they talk about like, you know, like the game as like in general, and they talk about the different heroes and stuff like that. So that might give you like some insight into like what hero you want to be playing. As far as like, you know, like trying to find a hero that you feel like works for you and makes you feel comfortable. So that might be a good place to start. Looking for a teacher / mentor type of thing. So not to like completely plug myself here, but I do have some like very like beginner friendly content on my YouTube channel. If you want to hit, I think you can hit exclamation point. You should be able to hit exclamation point YT and find the link to that. And it actually like I have some YouTube shorts that kind of like, you know, like talk about like getting into the game as a whole and like how it's beneficial for new players to like have certain things and cards. And like I talk about like the value of cards and how to maximize your turns. So like if you're looking to like learn more strategy about the game, there's some videos that I have like that on my YouTube channel that you might find beneficial. Dude, I hope you have a blast playing Flesh and Blood, man. I've met so many people. Dude, like Flesh and Blood's awesome. That's actually like all I would say to anybody. Flesh and Blood's awesome. People that play Flesh and Blood are awesome. I love playing it. I love the people I've met. Like Flesh and Blood is like by far the best like TCG I've ever played. So this is for 3, and we get a card here. We're basically at a point where almost everything we do is going to be getting cards, which is kind of awesome. This is the last thing that doesn't make them give us a card. We might actually just win the game here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think we win here, unless they have a defense reaction. So this is going to be for 2 because of Tiger Stripe Shuko. So this actually makes them give us a card. And then unless they have a defense reaction here, this is just going to be for 5 and close the game out. It's like defense reaction lets them go to 1. All right, that was a close game. And it's kind of ironic. I talked about how I wasn't really sure how I felt about Tide Flippers, but Tide Flippers was actually a turn where we had 2 blues, and we were able to prevent some arcane damage with them, which was kind of nice. Now, don't get me wrong, like we could have just blocked 6, like. But the way our hand lined up with a snatch, we were actually able to pitch a blue, take 1 arcane, and then block 6 with the other cards in our hand, and then throw a snatch, which I mean is a 13-point turn cycle. So it's pretty good turn there. Okay, beating Vincent feels pretty good. So let's go ahead and put that in our list here. Talishar, Vin. Set. I went second. They chose to go first, and we get a win. I'm trying to remember what all I played tonight so far, so that I can log it all in my notes here, so I don't forget anything. Copy deck link to clipboard. Okay. We're 3-3. I'd like to get a positive record going before the night's over with. That's right, Ben. Dab on them. Let them know what's up. Okay, here we go. So we get to play an Icelander game, which I think is going to be very important. We want Tunic in this matchup. We want Tide Flippers. We want Mask of Momentum. Or Mask of the Pouncing Links. I totally misspoke right there. And then what we're actually going to do is we're going to bring in the 2 Energy Potion and the Rise from the Ashes. Rise from the Ashes is great against any arcane-based hero or any like grindy ice-style hero, in my opinion. So that's one of the reasons I have the extra Rise from the Ashes here is for Icelander. So we're going to bring in 2 Energy Potions because if we're ever able to set up an Energy Potion early game, it's such a win for us. So we're just gonna dive in here. Note that you log anything. I never do, but should. So it's actually something that I picked up playing. That I actually picked up playing when I was playing Magic. When I would prepare for tournaments, I would like log everything down in a notebook. And now I've just become more advanced where I keep it all in a spreadsheet, which is definitely the way to go. It helps me really keep track of my games and know what's working and where I need the most help. If it's not something that you do and you're like really looking to like get better as a player, I would definitely suggest doing that. It has helped me a ton. I'm going to pitch this Phoenix Flame. This baby, I don't care. Oh, dude, Justin coming in clutch. Letting us know everything that I've played against tonight. Dude, look at you. Justin, the real MVP. I only have Arcane Barrier 1, which I have to say is something that, like, I think I was a little caught off guard by because I'm used to having Arcane Barrier 2 in my Kodachi list. So I was ready. I was prepared to block as much as possible this turn. Justin, thank you for calling out those matchups, dude. That'll be a big help for me here in just a minute when I actually go back and log all my heroes for the night. I was just going to look back at the VOD after the stream, but dude, Justin doing the Lord's work over here. You'll love to see it. So let's go ahead and start with a Rising Resentment, because if our opponent decides to give us a Frostbite, this is actually super relevant here. This is a card that has a really big on-hit effect in this matchup. For anybody who doesn't know, anytime anytime that Rising Resentment hits, if you have a Frostbite, it automatically counteracts the Frostbite, even if you're playing something with cost 0. Just to clarify. So you'll actually see me banish a card here, just in case anything happens. I'm going to Arsenal the Rise from the Ashes here. Considering we got rid of our Phoenix Flame last turn, it's kind of made our Rise from the Ashes a little awkward this turn. But we can Arsenal it and try to set up and use it on a more beneficial turn here. Our opponent decides to play an Insidious Chill. That is perfectly fine with me. If they do throw Waning Moon at us here, I'm just going to take it. There's no reason for me to AB1 as opposed to throwing my Emberblade here. All right, so my opponent goes to 30, and we have 4 more points coming in here. Losses were Dash.io, Azalea, and Max. One of the losses was Dory. Yeah. So it was Dash.io, Azalea, and Dory. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Justin. Dude, Justin is just doing the Lord's work over here, man. Got all of our matchups for us, what we won and what we lost to. Dude, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. I mean, you're saving me a lot of time from having to go back and do it all here in a couple minutes. Or doing it in a few minutes here whenever I get done streaming, so... Plus, like, the more I log my games and I keep notes of it, the more I'm actually able to... I'm just going to go ahead and pop this here. Actually, I'm just going to pop this and get a Lava Burst. Or not a Lava Burst, a Shuko. Or, good lord, a Salta Wound. Like, they could get us with a Blizzard in the resolution step here, which would be bad for us, but I just want to go ahead and get my... I just want to go ahead and get my Salta Wound here, because Salta Wound's going to be for 6. Or I'm sorry, it's actually going to be for 7. Which is like, there's just so much value in this play right here. This gives us such an opportunity to try and jump ahead. We get to use Shuko on a turn when we didn't think we were going to, and our opponent obviously wants to keep their cards, so we're able to just like push forward and keep going here. Yoshifuku? I hope I'm saying that right. Appreciate you being in Twitch and hanging out. I hope you enjoy my deck list. If you end up playing a lot of games with it, you see me streaming later, any feedback would be welcome. Okay. This is a great looking hand, but our opponent like has the Ice Vein here, which is really solid. What are they fusing with? Polar Blast? So the fact that I have to pay 2 here is kind of tough. So if I pay 2, I can take 4, go to 32, and then I can pitch the Lava Burst. Actually not gonna AB here, and then yes, I'm gonna pay 2. Yeah, I'd rather keep this in my deck. Hi there, I'm looking at picking up Fai, really fun hero. Yeah, dude, Fai's a blast. I love playing Fai. Fai is so much fun. I 100% agree with you. Fai is awesome. They play the Polar Blast here. We're kind of in a tough spot. They're pretty incentivized to play the Polar Blast here before anything happens and I get extra cards back in my hand. Yeah, this is tough because like I want to play the Blaze Headlong here. To get in 7 points worth of value here off the Rise from the Ashes. But I also... I guess I could just pitch my Art of War, but that feels wrong because I have Tunic Art of War coming up and that's like very relevant. I don't know. Like, I think we're just going to have to pitch the Blaze Headlong to play the Phoenix Flame. But there's also 3 Flame Call Awakenings and 2 Phoenix Flames in our deck. So we have a pretty high shot of finding one here. So I think I can actually go for the higher upside play of just attacking for 7. I think that's the better line here. I know we're getting rid of our Phoenix Flame here, which is like not great for us. But at the same time, this is a 7-point attack versus a 3-point attack. We're talking about the difference in 4 points here, which is insane. Yeah, but Yoshi, if you're looking to pick up Fai, I think now's a really good time to do it because I think that Fai is going to have a really solid place in the metagame moving forward. Like with the Dromai and Bravo meta, I think that there are ways that like Fai can be built to really help you into both of those matchups. So like you're able to have like a net positive matchups into a net positive like matchup into both Bravo and Dromai. I also think Dash and Icelander are going to get really popular. I think Dash more so than anything, but... Okay. My opponent takes 3 and goes to 16 here. This is probably just going to be Coronet Peak and Arsenal here if I had to guess for my opponent. What an incredibly awkward hand. It's like almost crazy how little this hand does. Like, this hand is wild. We're going to pitch Rise from the Ashes. We don't have a Phoenix Flame, so we have 0 reason to keep this card. I'm going to go 5-go again here because I have the ability to pitch my Warmonger's Diplomacy to play Searing Emberblade, given the opportunity. And I think that's better than just attacking for 7 and trying to AB so here. Lord, excuse me. It's getting to be that time of the night for me. I'm normally an 11:30 person, and it's time to call it quits for me. I feel like I've turned into an old man as I've gotten into my later 20s. Yeah, I get that for sure. What are the pros and cons of Emberblade and Kodachis? So Yoshi, I was actually playing Emberblade Kodachi, or I was playing Kodachi Fai throughout. I was playing Kodachi Fai throughout ProQuest season. And I think that my biggest reason for wanting Kodachi Fai was that I was able to play Breaking Point in my main deck, and that gave me a big edge in the Lexi matchup. I mean, big edge is a stretch, but it gave me some like play into the Lexi matchup, which I really enjoyed. But I think that Emberblade is going to be a lot better moving forward into the new meta game with Dromai and Bravo being popular. Now, Kodachis are generally better into the Guardian style of gameplay, so it's a little counterintuitive to think that way. But I think that we're able to build Emberblade Fai in such a way that we're able to like really like take advantage of like what Bravo and Dromai is trying to do. Plus, Emberblade really helps us like clear off like Asvalai and some of the bigger dragons as to where Kodachis required more cards. So I think they both have their ups and their downs. But I think that Emberblade Fai is more of like a hard aggro deck. Like it's more of like the red deck wins style strategy for Magic. I don't know if Yoshi, if you're a Magic player at all. But it's more of like the hard aggro, like, you know, like style of decks that like you're probably used to seeing like more like in Magic. And the Kodachi version of the deck is more like what I would call surgical. Like I would call Kodachi Fai like way more surgical, just based off the fact that like you get more interesting lines and you have more interesting decision points, in my opinion. Emberblade is just always like 3 damage. It's like another head jab basically in your deck. And Kodachis enable like this like surgical style of play almost, which is like really solid. Okay, Icelander opponents on heart here. Frosting is revealed. So I might as well just use my Tunic here to pay for the Insidious Chill and pay for the discard effect here, because I'm not going to pay any AB here. I'm not going to AB any at all. I'm just going to use one of my blues. I'm just going to pitch my... I guess my Brand. So I'm going to go to 22. My opponent's going to go to 13 here. Heart of Fandle's such a good card, and it has so much value in Icelander. I love Heart of Fandle. And then, yes, let's pay 2. So it's now 22 to 13. We're up 9 points, which is 5 more than the like allotted starting life totals give us over the course of the game. We know this is not a Channel Lake Frigid based off of the fact that they showed us a Frosting, so that's very good for us. I'm going to pitch Lava Vein Loyalty. We're going to go buff and banish, and I'm going to banish my Soul Beat Strike here. They could activate Stormstriders and try to get us here. Like, that wouldn't be a completely crazy play, in my opinion. It's not outside the realm of possibility as far as everything's concerned, in my opinion. I think them playing Frosting here is way more likely. I'm just going to take 1 and go to 21 here. I don't think my opponent will do anything else. I think they'll wait and see what we do here before they actually move forward with any other game plan. Unless they're going to Stormstriders in and like play like a Ready through Ice Vein or something. Okay, so Ravenous Rabble. Let there be a red on top, please. Rabble turns on our Blaze Headlong, which is really solid. You'd love to see that. I mean, yellow's not a blue, I guess. So the good with the bad. You gotta stay positive. Oh, I gotta stretch my legs before I go to bed tonight. We played pickleball today, and like I can feel it in my legs. Like my legs are sore. I need to stretch before I go to bed. God, I've turned into such an old man. So I'm actually going to pay 2 here. The Blizzard normally would have been very good, but man, like the extra Soul Beat Strike is just like really panning out for us here. Now, unfortunately, the way it panned out, the Blizzard was actually kind of good because it saves Emberblade and Phoenix Flame here. So we're not able to do it all, unfortunately. But I do get to throw 5 extra points at my opponent. So it wasn't a completely wasted Emberblade turn here. Or like it wasn't a completely wasted Art of War turn. We got a little bit of value out of our Art of War, but nothing crazy here. Our Art of War was a 1 for 2, which is honestly really not that good. In fact, if your Art of Wars are consistently 1 for 2, I would argue that they're not really that good. This was Icelander. Cannot remember who went first. I'll have to go back and look at the VOD after this and see who went first. Our opponent's been very patient with their equipment. I do give them props for that. There's only 1 more Blizzard left in their deck, but they also haven't seen any channel like Frigids. They're just passing. So let's lead on head jab. Whew. Let's lead on head jab and see how they react. This feels like a channel. Like, just off what I know about how Icelanders play the game, this feels like a channel here. Man, really? I am going to AB1 here because I'm not able to throw Emberblade, and I am able to AB1 and still play both of my cards here. Whew. We get a Frostbite. Am I lagging here? I can never tell with Talishar. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's my opponent. It's hard to tell, honestly. Yeah, so we get a Frostbite. It was definitely our opponent. We're going to take the 2 damage here. And then Ronin Renegade's already on the stack. So our opponent pushed through 4 points on us here. And we're going to have a 7-point turn in total here. Icelander went first. Thank you, Justin. It's interesting because, like, I can't remember. I think they chose to go first, which is, like, really interesting because, like, if you've played a lot of Icelander, I think most Icelander players are under the impression that, wow, another Blizzard here. That's pretty good. That Blizzard's pretty solid. We're not going to be able to pay. Makes me kind of wish I'd paid more into this, which was a good play for my opponent. Yeah, they got me here. That was definitely a beneficial turn cycle for them. It, like, most Icelander players that I know and talk to will tell you that you don't, like, you want to go, they'll tell you that, like, you want to go second against Fai because you want to get all the tempo. So we're actually going to we're going to use our Tunic here and try to play Art of War with it. Because I really want to be able to, like, use Art of War to, like, try and end our game here. Ooh, my opponent's using Tunic here. I wonder if this is like a cold snap. Usually when I was going to use Tunic, like when I had a card in Arsenal, it was like cold snap or something like that. Okay, so it is cold snap. Let's go buff and banish. We're going to banish the Phoenix Flame since we just have another Phoenix Flame in our hand, basically. So I am going to pay. Our opponent's either really thinking or they are just like lagging through the game pretty hard at this point. It could also be like somebody else who streams and they're talking through their lines like I do. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of people that like play against me that think, good lord, this guy takes forever to play his turns. I mean, that's all 3 Blizzards, so we're no longer playing around Blizzard at this point. So I'm going to lead on Ronin Renegade here because I actually want my Rising Resentment to hit. I want my Rising Resentment to actually be a reduction cost on my Mounting Anger here. This Art of War turn's looking pretty decent here. Like, this is looking like a pretty good turn cycle for us. No way it's a game-ending turn cycle, but it's a good turn cycle. Do. So Rising Resentment. This if they're like if the Icelander player like understands the value this card presents, they'll give us a card and Iron Rock Gauntlet, or they'll give us another defense reaction. It's very possible that they're an Icelander who's on Sink Belows and Fate Foreseens, as most of the Icelanders I've seen have been. Ooh. Interesting. So I assume it's Coronet Peak and a 2-block? No? You're just giving me this effect and going to 3? Well, this is really good, because this is a 1 for 5 right here, and they just gave up their most convenient way to block 5 without having to give multiple cards from hand. I mean, they could give me Tunic here if they wanted. They probably will if it means staying in the game. Zero for 5 that has on hit, banish the last card in your hand, gets +1. I think every single person would play that card, so... One of the real interesting thing about my Emberblade list versus my Kadachi list is that Emberblade doesn't really permit us to play Bittering Thorns, in my opinion. Bittering Thorns is a ninja action, but it's a non-draconic attack. So as much as I like Bittering Thorns, I think that Emberblade plays well with less of the 1 for 4s, especially non-draconic ones, because you want as many ways to give go again as you can here. I think our opponent's definitely trying to figure out how to get out of this one, and I just think they realize they can't. If you're doing that, you have to give Tunic here. Yeah, I was like, you can't give up the extra point. Not with having a 2-block in your hand. Like, there's no way. And then this is a 1 for 4 that gets a Phoenix Flame out of our deck, which is really nice. because we had to banish a Phoenix Flame to make our Art of War turn work, which means that we're only going to have one Phoenix Flame in our graveyard. We made a decision early on in the game to push 4 extra damage by getting rid of the Phoenix Flame in our graveyard, which is a choice I don't make very often, but I think in this matchup, like the way our hand lined up, I think we just needed to push damage. Are you playing Spreading Flames, or it didn't make the cut? So I originally had it in the list, and I actually cut it to play an extra Rise from the Ashes. And what else did I add? So I think there was only 2 in the list that I originally found, and I'm on 0 right now. So I was like, Kafrika, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm only on 2, or I'm on 0 right now. The original list was only on 2, but I'm on 0. Spreading Flames is a really good card and helps break up damage, but I think that I want to be in a spot where, like, I don't know, like I'm not really big on Spreading Flames right now, honestly, which is like kind of crazy because Spreading Flames is a really good card, but I'm not super big on Spreading Flames right now. Like, Spreading Flames just doesn't feel like all that in a bag of chips to me. That could just totally be, like, my feelings and, like, not an actual accurate representation of the game. Also. Well, the double blue is good, but let me tell you, this ain't it. We got to start by activating Fai here. Okay. So that doesn't really hurt us too much. In fact, I would argue that that's actually a good card for them to have as far as we are concerned. We're not going to AB any here. We're just going to take 3 and go to 14. Like, 14 after the Waning Moon is not kill shot, especially without Metacarpus Node. And we can actually play out our whole turn here because of the double blue. Now, this will be for 0, which is unfortunate, but we get to go Phoenix Flame, Emberblade, Lava Vein Loyalty, Lava Burst for 6. So take a card, take their last 2 cards, and if they have multiple 2 blocks in their hand, then they're just dead here. So I believe you are correct about Spreading Flames. Seems like a lot of people are cutting it. Also, why didn't you Fai on their turn so they can't respond? I 100% should have. I wasn't thinking. Playing Kadachi Fai, I almost never Fai. I don't Fai very often as it is anyway, much less on their turn. Faiing on their turn was correct. Like, Faiing on their turn was absolutely correct. Good catch, Kafrika. That was a good catch. Definitely would have made my turn better for me here. I just heard our cat's feeder go off. Like, so we have one of those automatic feeders for our cat. Our cat is named Taryn, and she is the fattest little chonk in the world, and I love her to death. Ooh, interesting. I think that's completely wrong here, and you're just overanalyzing the situation, opponent. And her food goes off at 6 a.m., 12 p.m., like lunchtime, 6 p.m., like dinner time, and then midnight. And so with daylight savings time, I completely forgot that her food we fell back or whatever we did when we got an extra hour of sleep. And I completely thought that her I thought it was midnight for a second, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, has this game really taken that long? I was like kind of having like a mini stroke there for a second. We come in for 3 once more. Our opponent's required to give us a card, and then we're going to kill our opponent with a Lava Burst. Our opponent blocking with the Fiendl's Fighting Spirit on the Phoenix Flame was just a mistake in my opponent overanalyzing the situation and putting themselves in a worse spot than they had to be. Now, my opponent did have 2 blocks this turn. They had a 2 block, a 3 block, and then they had a winner's bite. So they were actually dead no matter what here. But they did get punished by their own choice of play here. So it is worth noting that, like Kafrika mentioned, I left myself open to being in a worse spot because of activating Fai on my own turn instead of doing it on their turn. I left myself in a worse spot, so that was actually like good to note and something to keep track of moving forward. It's also interesting that they set up an Insidious Chill like super early, like on like turn 1 or 2, and they never got all 3 counters out of it, which is like crazy. It's like crazy how that happened. Okay, so let's log this game really quick here in my spreadsheet. So we got a win. I've got an Azalea game that I'll have to go back. I know I lost. I know I beat regular Dash. No, not that, just Dash. And then I beat a Max. And I'll have to go back and look and see like where I went first or second on those games tonight so that I can make notes on each matchup. I'll probably do that tomorrow afternoon sometime. All right. So 4-3 on the night, like not too bad. All things considered, you know, like one, thanks a lot, like you guys for helping out in the chat tonight. Like I just like you guys really helped me like realize some of the lines, and I think there's a lot of like big differences between Blood Fai and Emberblade Fai. And while I naturally gravitate towards Blood Fai, I think Emberblade Fai is going to have a better place in the metagame. So Emberblade Fai is kind of where I'm starting in this new metagame and what I'm going to be testing. So I feel like I got to iron out some of the iron out some of the like the kinks tonight, like shake off some rust and like try to get back into like what playing Emberblade Fai is going to feel like. I also enjoyed talking about ProQuest week 3 recap. So that felt pretty nice. And 4-3 overall is not terrible. I don't feel too bad about it. I've got my games logged. I'm going to be playing Emberblade Fai probably the rest of the week just to like, you know, keep getting Emberblade Fai games in over the course of the week so that I can kind of like keep ironing out my list and see how that feels moving forward. Guys, I appreciate everybody hanging out tonight, whether you're on YouTube, Kick, Twitch, wherever you're at. It means a lot. Appreciate you guys being a part of it. I actually set a goal for myself. I'm kind of working towards like a goal on like each of the platforms that I stream on. So on Kick, I have a goal of getting to 100 followers by the end of the year. Currently sitting at 53, so it's definitely possible. Just gotta find some people that like Flesh and Blood and watch it on Kick. On Twitch, I'm currently sitting at 222 followers, and I'm hoping to get to 300 followers by the end of the year. I know that Flesh and Blood has become more popular on Twitch, so I'm hoping that I can achieve that.
Freaking go!
Yo!
You love to see it.
Kafrika subbing on YouTube. I appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate hanging out in the chat tonight and being a part of it. And my goal on YouTube is to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That's definitely faster than I've been going as far as everything's concerned. So it's a pretty lofty goal. But I'm really hoping to like, you know, make that a goal to get to 1,000 subscribers. I think crossing into a 4-digit number would be very exciting and something that like, you know, like really, like, I just think that'd be pretty cool accomplishing moment for me, like, you know, as a person, as a streamer and a content creator. So anyway, thanks for hanging out tonight, guys. I will be back tomorrow. Be playing more Emberblade Fai. So if you like Fai, come back and hang out. And even if you just want to make fun of me, come back and hang out anyway. It'd mean a lot. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy, guys.